Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I'm going to adjust my camera a wee bit. Welcome to day 255 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Today, just like every day this month, we're focusing on spiritual health and well-being. And our topic today is expectations, spiritual expectations of other people, other individuals, other organizations, and of ourselves. So we're going to ask ourselves a couple of questions today as part of our exploration of spiritual expectations. Now, we're going to talk about the hardest one first. The hardest one first, but really the most important one, is our expectations of ourselves. What do we expect? How do we expect to show up in the world? What is that line in the sand that we draw when it comes to our spiritual beliefs, our spiritual health, and our spiritual well-being? Because just like every other area in our life, nobody's going to take care of it for us. We have to do it ourselves. People can influence it. They can share their experiences, but it's always 100% up to us to decide how we're going to show up in the world, what's right for us and what isn't right for us. And my little litmus test is, if it makes me feel at all icky, negative, or anything slimy or off, even just off by a smidgen, then I'm not going to do it. It's not for me. But if it makes me feel good, if it makes me feel lighter, if it makes me feel better, if it makes me feel any positive emotion, then I'm probably going to do that thing. And I expect that with everything in my life. My expectation is that I show up in the world like I want to positively impact it. I treat people the way I want to be treated because that's what I expect from them. We can't expect people to treat us well if we're not treating them well. So as far as ask ourselves today, let's ask ourselves a question about, what do I expect of myself spiritually? Do I expect myself to perform certain rituals or have certain practices on a regular basis or not? Do I expect myself to contribute to certain things or participate in certain things, services or learnings or workshops or whatever? Is that an expectation of myself spiritually? What are my expectations of myself and how I take care of my spiritual health and well-being? Then, what do I expect of others? And others can be family members, church leaders, or organizational leaders, spiritual gurus, spiritual everybody. And believe it or not, we all have expectations of them. I expect them to set the example and be the leaders in their organization, meaning lead in the way that they want their followers to behave, and behave in a way that they expect the people that they're teaching and mentoring and guiding to behave as well, right? We talked about this yesterday. Do as I do, not as I say, because that's how it's always going to work. So we all have those expectations. So think about that for a couple of minutes today. What do I expect from other people with respect to spirituality? And maybe it's just, I expect them to all just do their own thing and leave everybody else alone about it, right? It's a private, personal thing, and I don't expect anybody else to do anything for me, and I'm not going to do anything. And I don't like that. That doesn't go in alignment with my contribution and my spiritual guidance, but it might in yours. And then, so today we're going to ask ourselves, what do I expect spiritually from other people, other organizations? What do I expect from my employer if I'm employed from a spiritual standpoint? What do I expect? I'm sticking with this one for the Be a Better You annual challenge more on a personal level. What do I expect from family members, friends, acquaintances, leaders in the community, my workplace? Do I expect them to honor my spiritual beliefs and rituals? And nowadays, pretty much everybody expects you to, even if it goes against theirs, and that's making it challenging and hard. And then, how do we communicate those expectations? Maybe I'm just going to tell everybody, hey, you do you, I do me, and then we just respect each other's wishes as long as it doesn't negatively impact one another. But we want to share what our expectations actually are in the area of spiritual health and well-being, for ourselves to set boundaries, and for others so they know what to expect from us. I think a lot of the rubs and the friction that happens in our lives and our relationships and with other people and with organizations is that we're just miscommunicating or misunderstanding, or we didn't know and clarify, this is what I expect right from the beginning. I expect you to communicate with me in this way. I expect you to let me know if you're going to do this or that, etc. And sometimes we'll share our expectations and people don't honor them. And that in and of itself tells us that we're in a situation that we need to make changes in. So today, think about how do you share your expectations with respect to spiritual thoughts and beliefs, as well as with respect to every other area and aspect of your life. Because chances are, if you might be sharing your expectations in, physical, financial, relationships, but you're not sharing your expectations with respect to spiritual freedom, spiritual beliefs, spiritual thoughts, spiritual health, and well-being. And so it's just another area to consider and think about. I guess it's all about self-awareness, right? Am I doing this? And would it benefit me to do this if I'm not? And am I doing this? And is there a way I could do it in a way that's more effective or more efficient or more in alignment with other people's wishes? Because sometimes we rub people the wrong way. I know for sure I rub people the wrong way. And that's okay, because we're just out in the world to be ourselves, because that gives everybody else permission to be themselves as well. And to me, that is a spiritually enlightened way of living and being. And it's hard sometimes, right? Because sometimes we think people are just off the wall crazy. And usually it's because they're triggering something in ourselves and in our past, etc., our past behavior. All right, that's it for today. If I can help you in any way, if you need more clarification on this, just ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day. Notice your expectations. Notice other people's expectations, because guess what? Other people have unspoken expectations of you as well in all areas and aspects of our life. All right, have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.